I grew up in a place called Harrow Creek, Ohio. Not the kind of town you'd find on a postcard, but not the kind people rushed to leave either. It just existed. One main road, a couple of gas stations, a diner that never closed, and folks who knew your business before you did. If you asked anyone about the abandoned school on the outskirts, though, they'd get real quiet. Lockwood Elementary. It sat about 5 miles out past the tree line, off a gravel road nobody maintained anymore. You couldn't even see it unless you knew exactly where to look. Just this ugly, low brick building swallowed up by weeds and crooked oak trees, windows busted out, roof sagging like it was tired of holding itself up. They shut it down back in the late 90s. Official reason was structural issues, but nobody ever bought that, not really, because kids had gone missing there. Not a bunch, just enough to make it stick in your head. One every few years, always chalked up to runaways, family problems, accidents, but they all had one thing in common. They were last seen at or around Lockwood. By the time I was in my 20s, it had turned into one of those dumb local legends. Teenagers would dare each other to sneak out there at night, get a picture, maybe smash something, then run back screaming like idiots. I never went, not until that night.
It started simple enough. My buddy Travis and I were sitting outside the Quick Mart around midnight, drinking cheap beer out of paper bags like we were still 17. Summer air, thick with bugs and that distant hum of highway noise. Nothing going on, same as always. Travis nudged me and said, "You ever been out to Lockwood?" I laughed. "Hell no. You trying to get tetanus or possessed?" He smirked. "Come on, man, you don't actually believe that crap." I shrugged. I believe old buildings collapse. That's enough for me. But he kept at it, talking about how he'd heard there were still desks inside, papers left behind, like everyone just got up and walked out one day. Said it felt wrong, unfinished. Then he said the one thing that hooked me. "Bet you won't go tonight." I should have told him to screw off. Instead, I finished my drink, crumpled the bag, and said, "Fine. We go, we look around for 10 minutes, then we bounce. No stupid crap." He grinned like he'd just won something, and that was mistake number one. The road out there hadn't changed. Still narrow, still lined with trees that leaned in like they were trying to listen. Travis drove his old pickup, headlights cutting through the dark in that weak yellow way. About halfway there, the signal on my phone dropped. Didn't think much of it at the time. We pulled up near the entrance, a rusted chain hanging loose between two posts. Someone had knocked it down years ago, I guess. The school sat beyond it, half hidden in shadow. Even from a distance, something felt off. Not scary exactly, just wrong. Like the place didn't belong anymore. Travis killed the engine. Everything went quiet real fast. No insects, no wind, just this heavy, empty silence pressing in from all sides. "Man," he said under his breath, "that's creepy as hell." I forced a laugh. "You wanted to come." We grabbed flashlights from the truck and started walking. The gravel crunched too loud under our boots. I remember thinking that, like we were announcing ourselves. The front doors were gone, just open frames leading into darkness. The smell hit me first. Damp, mold, something rotten underneath it all. We stepped inside. The hallway stretched out ahead, long and narrow, lockers lining both sides. Most of them hung open, doors twisted or ripped off entirely. Papers were scattered across the floor, brittle and yellowed. My flashlight flickered once. I smacked it with my palm. It steadied. "Don't do that," I muttered. Travis chuckled. "Relax, man, it's just a building." We moved deeper in. Our footsteps echoed in a weird way, like the sound lagged behind us, just a second too slow. I tried to ignore it. We passed classrooms with broken windows and overturned desks. Chalkboards still had faint writing on them, math problems, spelling lists, normal stuff. Except one. We stopped in the doorway of a classroom near the end of the hall.
The chalkboard wasn't faded. It was fresh, white chalk, clear as day. 3 words, "Don't look back." I felt my stomach drop. "You see that?" I whispered. Travis stepped closer. "Yeah, someone must have been here recently." "Yeah, at midnight? In this dump?" He didn't answer. That's when we heard it. A sound from down the hallway. Soft, like shuffling. We both froze. "You hear that?" Travis said. "Yeah." It came again, closer this time. Scrape, shuffle, scrape, like someone dragging their feet. "Probably an animal," he said, but his voice didn't sound convinced. "Animals don't write on chalkboards." We stood there, listening. Then it stopped. Dead silence. Travis swallowed. "Let's just take a quick look and get out." That should have been the end of it. We should have left. Instead, we followed the sound.
The hallway seemed longer now. I swear it wasn't that long when we came in. Our flashlights barely reached the end. The beam just kind of faded into darkness. We passed doors that hadn't been opened before, I was sure of it. One of them creaked slightly as we walked by, like it had just been pushed. "Dude," I said, "something's not right." "Yeah, no kidding." We kept going anyway. At the very end of the hall, there was a staircase leading down, basement level. The sound came again. From below, scrape, shuffle, scrape. Travis looked at me. I shook my head. No way. But he was already moving. "Just a quick look," he said. "Travis!" Too late. I followed him down. The air got colder with every step. Not normal cold, not like night air. This was damp, heavy, like breathing through wet cloth. The basement was mostly storage rooms, old desks stacked up, broken chairs, boxes collapsed into dust. Our flashlights jittered over everything. And then we saw it. At the far end of the room, something moved. Not fast, just shifting, like someone standing there. "Hey," Travis called out. "Who's there?" No response. The shape didn't move again. We stepped closer. My heart was hammering so loud I could barely hear anything else. "Maybe it's a squatter," he whispered. "Or we're about to get murdered," I said. We were about 10 feet away when the flashlight hit it fully. It wasn't a person. It was a pile of desks, stacked up, but the way they were arranged, it looked like a shape, like someone had tried to build a body out of them. "Okay," Travis said, exhaling. "That's just creepy, but not—" The desks shifted, right in front of us, just a little, but enough. We both saw it. "Did you—" "Yeah." Something inside that pile moved, like it was breathing. A low sound came from it, not loud, not clear, just wrong. We backed up slowly. Then the sound changed. It turned into something almost like a whisper, multiple voices layered over each other. We couldn't make out words at first. Then, "Stay with us. Don't leave." I grabbed Travis's arm. "We're going, now." We turned and ran. The staircase felt longer going up. I swear it took twice as long. When we reached the hallway again, everything was different. The lockers were closed, all of them. The doors that had been open were shut, and the chalkboard at the end of the hall, the message had changed. "You looked." Travis cursed under his breath. "Nope, nope, we're out." We started moving fast toward the entrance. That's when we heard footsteps behind us. Not ours, something else, following. Slow at first, then faster. We didn't turn around. I remembered the message, "Don't look back," so we didn't. The footsteps kept pace. Then they got closer. Then right behind us. I could feel something at my back. Cold, close, breathing. "Don't run," Travis said, panic creeping in. "Don't run." But I did. I broke into a sprint. He followed. The exit was right there, just a few yards ahead. We burst through the doorway into the night air.
and everything went silent, just like that. We didn't stop running until we reached the truck. Travis fumbled the keys, dropped them once, then got the engine started. As we pulled away, I looked back. I know I shouldn't have, but I did. The front of the school was empty. No movement, no shapes, just dark windows staring back. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "Man," Travis said, laughing nervously, "that was messed up." "Yeah," I said, "we're never doing that again." We drove in silence for a while. Then he spoke again. "Hey, when we were downstairs, did you hear what they were saying?" I hesitated. "Yeah." "What did you hear?" I swallowed. "Stay with us." He nodded slowly. "Yeah," he said, "that's what I heard too." We didn't talk after that. I thought that was the end of it. Just a bad night, something we'd laugh about later. I was wrong, because the next morning, I woke up with dirt on my shoes and chalk on my hands, and written on my bedroom wall in white, "You came back."
Travis disappeared 2 days later. They searched for him everywhere. His truck was found parked outside Lockwood Elementary. Engines still warm, doors open. No sign of him, no struggle, nothing. I went out there once after that, just once, during the day. The place looked normal, empty, dead, like nothing had ever happened. But when I stepped inside, I saw the chalkboard again. Same classroom, same spot. This time it said, "One left." I don't go near that road anymore. Don't talk about it much either. But sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet, I hear it. That scraping sound, that whisper, closer every time. And I know, sooner or later, I'm going back.
I grew up in a place called Briar Glen, Pennsylvania, the kind of town where people pretended nothing ever went wrong because admitting it would mean you'd have to deal with it. We had one high school. Well, technically two. There was the new one, bright and clean and full of banners and glass windows, and then there was Westfield High, the old one, right in the middle of town. They never tore it down, never repurposed it either. It just sat there like a bad memory nobody wanted to dig up. 3 floors, long brick face, windows boarded up uneven like someone gave up halfway through. You could see it from almost anywhere. Main Street, the diner, even the park. It didn't matter where you stood. It always felt like it was watching you back. Nobody really talked about why it closed. Officially, safety concerns. But everyone knew that was crap, because a teacher died there. And after that, things didn't stop. Kids started acting weird. Some said they heard voices in empty classrooms. A couple of students claimed doors would lock on their own. One girl swore she saw someone standing at the end of a hallway, except when she walked toward them, they were suddenly closer. Then one night, a janitor quit mid-shift and never came back, just left his keys on the floor and walked out. A week later, they shut the place down for good. That was 12 years before my story starts, and somehow it never left the center of everything. My name's Lacey Monroe. I wasn't one of the rich kids, not even close. My mom worked double shifts at the diner, and I picked up hours wherever I could. Gas station, grocery store, babysitting for people who barely tipped. We got by, but barely. Which is why I said yes, even though I shouldn't have. It started at a party. Not my scene, but my friend Danny dragged me along. Big house, loud music, people pretending they were already more important than they actually were. That's where I met them. Kylie, Brent, Mason, the kind of kids who didn't worry about money because they'd never had to. Perfect clothes, perfect teeth, perfect way of making you feel like you didn't belong. Kylie was the one who brought it up. We were sitting around the backyard fire pit, people half drunk, laughing too loud. She leaned over, smirking. "Hey, Lacey, you ever been inside Westfield?" I shook my head. "Nope, don't plan to either." "Why not?" Brent chimed in. "You scared?" I rolled my eyes. "No, I just don't see the point." Mason laughed. "Come on, everyone's curious." "Yeah," Kylie said, her voice dropping just a little. "Stay one night in there, midnight to sunrise." I snorted. Hard pass. Then she said it. "I'll give you $1,000. That got quiet real fast. I looked at her, trying to figure out if she was serious. "You're joking." She shrugged. "Am I?" Brent leaned forward. "No phones, no leaving early. You stay inside the whole time. We'll check in the morning." Danny nudged me. "Lace, that's like your rent for 2 months." I hated how tempting it sounded. I hated that I actually considered it. "What's the catch?" I asked. Kylie smiled. "No catch." That was the biggest lie of the night. I showed up the next evening with a backpack. Water bottles, snacks, flashlight, extra batteries, a hoodie, and a small folding knife I wasn't even sure I'd know how to use. They were already there when I arrived. Kylie leaned against her car, arms crossed, like she was watching a show. "You actually came," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "You better pay up tomorrow." "Oh, I will," she said, "if you make it." Something about the way she said it made my stomach twist. Brent handed me a cheap digital watch, so you can't fake the time. "Great," I muttered. Mason pointed toward the building. "Doors are already open, we checked." Of course they did. "All right," I said, slinging the backpack over my shoulder. "Midnight to sunrise." "Midnight to sunrise," Kylie echoed. I took a breath and walked toward Westfield High. Behind me, I could hear them laughing. The front doors were cracked open. Not wide, just enough to slip through. The second I stepped inside, the air changed. Cooler, still. It smelled like dust, and something faintly metallic, like old pennies. I turned on my flashlight. The beam cut across a long hallway lined with lockers, most of them dented or rusted, some hanging open. It didn't feel abandoned. That's the first thing that hit me. It felt paused, like something had been happening here and it just stopped mid-breath. I shook it off. "Get it together," I muttered. I found a spot near the entrance, an old classroom with a door that's still half closed. Figured it'd be easier to leave in the morning if I stayed close. I set my stuff down, checked the time. 11:57 p.m. 3 minutes to go. Midnight hit quietly. No dramatic shift, no sound. Just me, sitting on a dusty floor in a dead building. "Okay," I whispered. "You got this." The first hour wasn't bad. I ate some chips, sipped water, scrolled through my thoughts more than anything else. The silence was heavy but manageable. Around 1 a.m., I heard the first noise. A locker slamming, somewhere down the hall. I froze. "Hello?" I called out. Nothing. I stood up slowly, grabbed my flashlight, and stepped into the hallway. Probably just settling, I said to myself. Buildings make noise, everyone knows that. Still, I walked toward the sound. The hallway stretched longer than I expected. My light skimmed over lockers, peeling paint, scattered papers. Then I saw it. One locker door swinging slightly, back and forth, like someone had just shut it. I approached it slowly. "Real funny," I said under my breath, even though no one was there to hear it. I reached out and pushed the locker door closed. It clicked. And then another locker slammed, right behind me. I spun around so fast I almost tripped. Nothing, just rows of lockers. But I could have sworn... No. I backed up, heart pounding. "Just wind," I whispered. Except there were no broken windows in this hallway. By 2 a.m., things got worse. I went back to the classroom, tried to sit it out. That's when I noticed the chalkboard. It had been blank before. Now it wasn't. 3 words, written in clean white chalk. You stayed. My throat went dry. Nope, I whispered. Nope, not funny. I hadn't left the room long enough for anyone to come in. I knew that. I stared at the board, waiting for something to happen. Nothing did, but the message didn't change either. I grabbed my bag. Just a few more hours, I told myself. You can handle a few more hours. Then came the footsteps. They started faint, somewhere above me, slow, measured, like someone walking across the second floor. Step, step, step. I looked up at the ceiling. Okay, I said, louder now. If someone's messing with me, it's not funny anymore. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then they started again, right above the classroom, then moved toward the stairs, toward me. I felt my chest tighten. All right, I said, grabbing my flashlight. I'm checking this out. Bad idea. Worst idea of the night. The staircase was at the end of the hall, dark, narrow, railing rusted through in places. I stood at the bottom, listening. Nothing. Just go up, check, come back, I told myself. I started climbing. Each step creaked under my weight. Halfway up, I heard something behind me. Another step, not mine. I stopped. So did it. I turned slowly. No one. The staircase behind me was empty. I swallowed hard and kept going. At the top, the second-floor hallway stretched out, darker than the first. My flashlight flickered. Don't you dare, I muttered. It steadied, barely. I stepped into the hall. That's when I saw her, at the far end, standing still. A girl. Long hair hanging over her face, wearing what looked like an old-school uniform. She wasn't moving, just standing there, facing me. I froze. Hey, I called out, my voice shaking. You're not supposed to be here. No response. She didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. I took a step forward, then another. Listen, I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. This isn't funny. If this is some kind of prank... She moved. Not like a normal person. Not a step. Not a shift. She was just closer. 1 second far away. Next second halfway down the hall. I choked on my breath. What the hell? She tilted her head, and I heard it. A voice. Not from her mouth. From everywhere. You stayed. Same words, from the chalkboard. I stumbled back. No, I whispered. No, I didn't. I mean, I'm leaving. I'm going. You stayed, the voice repeated. The girl took a step this time. Slow, deliberate. I turned and ran. I don't remember getting down the stairs. I don't remember crossing the hallway. All I know is I made it back to the front doors, and they were closed, shut tight. No, I gasped, grabbing the handle. It wouldn't budge. I pulled harder. Nothing. Open! I screamed, slamming my shoulder into it. The sound echoed through the building, and then laughter, soft at first, then louder, coming from the halls, from the rooms, from everywhere. I backed away from the door, shaking. Okay, I whispered. Okay, just stay calm. The laughter stopped. Dead silent. Then the voice again, right behind me. You can't leave. I turned. The girl was standing in the hallway, closer than before. too close. Her hair parted just enough for me to see her face. Her eyes, they weren't right. Too dark, too deep, like looking into something that didn't end. "You stayed," she said. This time, her mouth moved. I don't remember how long I ran. I just kept moving, through hallways that didn't look the same anymore, doors where there hadn't been doors, rooms that shouldn't exist. Everywhere I went, I heard it. Footsteps, whispers, laughter. "You stayed. Stay with us. Don't leave." At some point, I realized something worse. The building wasn't empty. It was full. I just couldn't see them all. When the sun came up, I was still inside, curled up in a corner of a classroom I didn't recognize. The light crept in through the cracks in the boards, and just like that, everything stopped. No voices, no footsteps, nothing. The front doors were open again. I didn't wait. I ran. Kylie and the others were outside, waiting. They looked confused. "Damn," Brent said. "You actually did it." Kylie handed me an envelope. "Your money," she said. I grabbed it with shaking hands. "You knew," I said. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Everyone knows," she replied. "Then why?" "Because," she said, cutting me off, "it doesn't let everyone leave." I stared at her. "What?" She nodded toward the building. I turned, for just a second, and I saw her, standing in one of the upper windows, watching, waiting. When I looked back, Kylie was still smiling. "Don't worry," she said. "It only calls you back if it wants you." I didn't say anything. I just walked away. That was 3 weeks ago. I still have the money. Haven't spent it. Feels wrong, like it doesn't belong to me, like it belongs to that place. Sometimes at night, I hear footsteps outside my window. Slow, measured, just like before. And last night, I woke up to something written on my wall, in white. 3 words. "Come back now." I think I'm going to, because I don't think I have a choice anymore.
Name's Eli. I don't usually tell this story. People either don't believe it or they look at you like you brought it on yourself. Like sleeping in a place like that makes whatever happens your fault. Maybe it does. But when you don't got a place to go, your standards drop real fast. I ended up in Marrow Creek, West Virginia, sometime in late October. Couldn't tell you the exact day. Time gets fuzzy when you're bouncing from one place to another, sleeping wherever you can, eating when you're lucky. It's one of those towns that used to matter. Cold mostly. Jobs dried up, people left. What's left just kind of hangs on out of habit. One grocery store, a busted gas station, a church that still fills up on Sundays. And one school nobody goes near, Marrow Creek Elementary. Sits just outside town, down a cracked road swallowed by weeds. You can't miss it if you're looking. Big, low building, brick peeling, windows blacked out or busted. Trees crowd around it like they're trying to hide it. I first heard about it from a guy named Curtis. Met him behind the grocery store while digging through the dumpster. He was older, maybe 50s, beard all gray and patchy, eyes that never quite focused on you. "You ain't from here," he said. "Nope." He nodded like he already knew that. Then he jerked his chin toward the road. "You staying anywhere?" I shrugged. "Wherever I can." He was quiet for a bit, then said, "Don't go to the school." I laughed. Wasn't planning on it. "Good," he said. "Don't." That should have been the end of it. But the thing about warnings like that, they stick. First couple nights, I slept behind the gas station. Not comfortable, but it was something. Third night, it rained. Hard. Cold, too. Everything got soaked. my blanket, my bag, me. By morning, I was shivering bad. Couldn't feel my fingers right. Needed somewhere dry. That's when I thought about the school. Just for a night, I told myself. Get dry, get warm, leave in the morning. I knew what Curtis said. I went anyway.
The road out there felt longer than it should have. Mud sucked at my shoes, trees leaning in overhead. No cars, no people, just wind pushing through branches and that distant creak of something old shifting. When the building finally came into view, it looked worse up close. Bigger, too, like it didn't belong out there. Front doors were boarded, but one of the side entrances was open, board ripped clean off, hanging by a nail. I stood there for a minute, just looking at it. Just a building, I muttered. Then I stepped inside. First thing I noticed was the quiet. Not normal quiet, heavy quiet, like the air itself didn't want to move. Second thing was the smell. Mold, rot, something sour underneath it all. Old water damage, maybe, or something worse. I moved slow, letting my eyes adjust. Hallways stretched out in both directions. Lockers rusted, some hanging open. Papers stuck to the floor like they'd melted there. I found a classroom near the entrance and set up there. Figured I didn't need to go wandering around. Kept things simple. Dry spot in the corner, spread out what I had, leaned back against the wall. See, I said out loud, not so bad. That was around mid-afternoon. By nightfall, I knew I was wrong. It started with the sounds, small at first, dripping somewhere deeper in the building, a distant thump. I told myself it was the structure settling. Old places make noise. Then came the footsteps, slow, dragging from down the hall. I sat up straight, listening. Step, drag, step. I held my breath. Hello? I called out. No answer. The footsteps stopped. Then they started again, closer. I grabbed a piece of broken wood from the floor. Not much, but better than nothing. Hey, I shouted. I ain't got nothing worth taking, man. The footsteps stopped right outside the classroom. I could feel it. Something standing there, just beyond the doorway, watching, waiting. I didn't move, didn't breathe. After what felt like forever, the footsteps started again, moved past the room, faded into the distance. I let out a shaky breath. Just someone else squatting, I whispered. That's all. But deep down, I knew that wasn't right, because I never heard the front door open. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I started to drift off, something would wake me. A scrape, a whisper. Once I heard what sounded like a child laughing, soft, high, too close. By morning, I was exhausted, but I was dry, and I was still there. So I told myself I'd leave, grab my stuff, head back into town, find somewhere else. I stood up, stretched, and noticed something on the chalkboard. I hadn't seen it the day before. 3 words, written clean like it had just been done. You stayed. I stared at it. No, I said. No, I didn't. I'm leaving. I grabbed my bag and headed for the door.
The hallway didn't look the same. I know that sounds crazy, but it didn't. The lockers were closed now, all of them. The floor looked cleaner, less debris. I slowed down, heart picking up. This ain't right. I kept walking, turned the corner where the exit should have been. It wasn't there, just more hallway. I stopped. No, I said, louder now. No, no, no. And I turned around. Same thing. Hallway stretched out, no exit in sight. Panic hit fast. Okay, just find another way out. I started moving, faster now, checking doors. Every room looked the same. Empty desks, broken windows, and chalkboards, each one with something written on it. At first, I didn't read them, didn't want to, but eventually I couldn't help it. "Stay. Don't go. Stay with us." And the handwriting was different on each one, like different people had written them. My chest tightened. "I'm not staying," I said. "You hear me? I'm not." A voice cut me off, soft, right behind me. "You already did." I spun around. Nothing there, but the air felt colder, closer, like something was right up against me. "You stayed," the voice whispered again. It wasn't one voice. It was a bunch, layered over each other. Kids. I backed up slowly. "I'm leaving," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Right now." No answer, just that heavy silence again. Then, footsteps, everywhere. Not just one set, dozens. Running, dragging, scraping, coming from all directions. I ran. I don't know how long I was in there. Time didn't work right. Day and night blurred together. Sometimes I'd find the same room twice in a row. Sometimes doors would open into places that didn't make sense. A classroom that led into a stairwell that led into a bathroom that led back into the same hallway I just left. And the whole time, they were there. I couldn't always see them, but I could feel them, watching, following, waiting. Sometimes I'd catch glimpses, a shape at the end of a hall, a face in a broken window, a small hand disappearing around the corner, always just out of reach, always gone when I looked directly. They never touched me, not at first. They just kept me there. I tried everything, marked walls with chalk, left pieces of trash to track where I'd been. Didn't matter. The marks would disappear or show up somewhere else, like the place was moving around me, like it didn't want me to find a way out. I stopped yelling after a while. No one was coming. No one could hear me. It was just me and them.
The worst part came on what I think was the third day. Could have been longer, could have been shorter. Hard to tell. I found a room I hadn't seen before, smaller than the others. No desks, just a single chair in the middle, facing the wall. I should have left. Instead, I stepped inside. "Hello?" I said. The chair creaked, turned slowly. No one was sitting in it, but it moved anyway, facing me now. I froze. "You stayed," the voices said, louder this time, clearer. "Sit." My legs locked up. "I'm not sitting," I said. "Sit." The word hit harder this time, like pressure, like something pushing down on me. My knees buckled. I stumbled forward. "No, sit." I dropped into the chair, couldn't stop myself. My body just gave in. The wall in front of me changed, not like it moved, like it peeled back, and behind it, I saw them. Kids, dozens of them, standing in a long hallway, different ages, different clothes, all staring at me. Their faces weren't right, too pale, too still, eyes too dark. "You stayed," they said, all at once. "You're one of us now." "No," I whispered. "No, I'm not." They smiled, slow, wrong. "Yes." The hallway behind them stretched out forever, endless, and for a second, I saw myself there, standing among them. Same empty expression, same dark eyes. I screamed.
Something snapped. I don't know what, but I broke free. Jumped out of the chair, ran for the door. The building fought me. I swear it did. Doors slammed shut, hallways twisted, voices screamed in my ears. "Stay! Don't leave! You belong here!" I didn't stop, didn't think, just ran. And somehow, I found the exit. I burst outside into daylight, collapsed in the dirt, gasping for air like I'd been underwater. The school stood behind me, quiet, still, like nothing had ever happened. I didn't look back, didn't need to. I knew they were there, watching. I left Marrow Creek that same day. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. Didn't tell Curtis. Just walked. Kept walking until the town was gone. I don't sleep in buildings anymore. Not abandoned ones, not empty ones, not anywhere that feels even a little off. Because I know now, some places aren't empty. They're full. It's been a year. I still hear them sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet. Footsteps, dragging, whispers, you stayed. And sometimes I wake up standing, facing a wall, with chalk on my hands, and I don't remember getting there. I think a part of me never left that school, and I don't know how much longer before the rest of me goes back. I run a small channel. Nothing big, just enough subscribers to keep me going, maybe make a little cash here and there. Mostly urban exploration. Abandoned places, forgotten buildings, stuff people don't usually stick around in after dark. Factories, motels, hospitals, the occasional house if it's empty enough. I don't fake stuff. No stage noises, no, oh my God, did you hear that every 5 seconds? If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I still post it. That's kind of my thing. Or it was, until I found Red Hollow School. I was driving through northern Kentucky, just outside a place called Ashford Ridge. Small town, blink and you miss it. One main strip, couple of clothes storefronts, a diner with a flickering sign. I stopped for gas and snacks. That's where I heard about it. Obal behind the counter, name tag said Walt. He noticed my camera gear and asked what I was filming. Abandoned stuff, I said. He gave me a look. Plenty of that around here. Yeah, I said. Anything interesting? He hesitated. Then he said, there's a school out past Red Hollow Road. That got my attention. Abandoned? Been that way a long time. What happened to it? He didn't answer right away, just rang up my stuff. People say things about it, he muttered finally. I smiled. People say things about every place. Not like this, he said. I laughed it off. That was mistake number one. Red Hollow Road was barely a road. More like a strip of cracked asphalt swallowed by trees. My GPS cut out about halfway down, which wasn't unusual out there. The school showed up suddenly. 1 minute it was trees, next minute there it was. Big 2-story building, brick but darkened with age. Windows broken or boarded, graffiti crawling up the sides. Parking lot completely overtaken by weeds. It had that look, the kind you want in a video, the kind that pulls views. I parked near the entrance and just sat there for a minute, taking it in. All right, I said to the camera, flipping it on. This is Red Hollow School out in Ashford Ridge. Haven't heard much about it, which usually means it's either nothing or something real weird. I grinned. If it's nothing, you still get a cool explore. If it's weird, well, that's why we're here. I wish it had been nothing. The front doors were gone, just empty frames leading into darkness. I stepped inside around 5 p.m. Still some daylight left, enough to get a good look before night. First impression? Standard abandoned school. Long hallways, rows of lockers, busted glass, water damage. But there was something else, a feeling, subtle, like the place wasn't as empty as it looked. I kept filming, narrating like I always do. Looks like it's been picked over a few times. Graffiti, some vandalism, nothing too crazy yet. I pushed open the classroom door. Desks still in rows, papers scattered, chalkboard at the front, blank. I panned the camera across the room. Honestly, pretty normal so far. That was around 5:30. By 6, I decided I'd stay the night. I've done it before, spent nights in places to get better footage, especially the shift from day to dark. Totally changes the vibe. I set up a small base in one of the classrooms near the entrance. Backpack, water, snacks, extra batteries. Plan is to stay here till morning, I said into the camera. Do a full night run-through, see if anything interesting happens. I laughed. Probably won't, but hey, you never know. Sunset hit fast. 1 minute there was light filtering through broken windows. Next minute, the whole place just dimmed. By 7:30, it was dark. I switched to my flashlight and headlamp. All right, I said quietly. This is where it gets good. I started with the first floor, slow walk down the hallway, camera rolling. Every sound echoed, my footsteps, my breathing, the occasional drip of water somewhere deep in the building. Standard stuff. Then I heard it, a locker slamming, sharp, loud, from the far end of the hall. I stopped. "You hear that?" I whispered to the camera. Silence. I stood there for a few seconds. "Probably just something falling," I said, even though it didn't sound like that. Still, I walked toward it, because that's what I do. The locker was halfway down the hall, door swinging slightly. I kept the camera trained on it. "All right," I muttered. "Let's see what caused that." I reached out and pushed it closed. It clicked, and then another locker slammed, behind me. I turned fast, camera shaking. Nothing, just a row of lockers. But I knew that sound. That wasn't random. "Okay," I said, trying to stay calm. "That's, weird." I backed up slowly. Then the camera glitched for a split second. I checked the screen. Everything looked normal again. "Probably interference," I muttered, but my voice didn't sound convinced.
Around 9 p.m., things escalated. I was in the second-floor hallway filming some classrooms. That's when I heard footsteps. Not mine. Slow. Measured. From the end of the hall. I froze. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. The footsteps stopped. Then they started again. Closer. I aimed the flashlight down the hall. Nothing. Empty. But the sound kept coming. Step, step, step. I backed up. "All right, if someone's here, you need to say something," I said, louder now. The footsteps stopped. Dead silence. Then a voice. Soft. Barely there. "You stayed." I felt my stomach drop. "Did you—" I started, then stopped myself. I knew I'd heard it. The camera picked it up too. I checked the playback later. It was there, clear as day. I should have left then. Packed up, got in my car, driven away. Instead, I kept going, because that's what I do. That was mistake number 2. By midnight, the whole building felt different, heavier, like the air had thickened. My flashlight started flickering. Camera battery drained faster than it should have. And the layout, it didn't feel right anymore. Hallways seemed longer. Rooms didn't line up the way they had before. I tried to go back to my base. Couldn't find it. "All right," I said into the camera, forcing a laugh. "Either I'm turned around or this place is messing with me." My voice echoed weird, like it came back wrong. That's when I noticed the chalkboards. Every classroom I passed, the chalkboards weren't blank anymore. They all had writing, same words over and over. "You stayed." Different handwriting, different sizes, but always the same message. I stepped into one room, camera shaking slightly. "Okay," I whispered, "this wasn't here before." I knew it. I had footage to prove it. The room had been empty earlier. Now it wasn't. I felt it. That presence. Closer now. Watching. The worst part, I wasn't alone. Not really. I started seeing them. Not clearly, just glimpses. A shape at the end of a hallway. A figure standing in a doorway, gone when I looked directly. Once I caught something in the camera screen. A kid, standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing there. I checked the footage. It was there, just for a frame. Then gone. Around 2 a.m., I tried to leave. Couldn't find the exit. Every hallway led somewhere else. Every turn brought me back to the same place, or somewhere worse. "All right, this isn't funny anymore," I said, voice shaking. "I'm leaving." No answer. Just that heavy silence. Then the whispers started. Soft at first, then louder, layered voices. Kids. "You stayed. Stay with us. Don't leave."
I covered my ears. Didn't help. The sound wasn't outside. It was inside. I ran.
I don't know how long I was running. Time didn't make sense anymore. Every turn led to another hallway, another room, another message on the board. You stayed, over and over, like the building was reminded me, like it wanted me to remember or accept it. I ended up in a classroom I hadn't seen before. At least, I think I hadn't. There was a desk in the middle, just one, facing the chalkboard. I stopped, breathing hard. "This is new," I whispered. The chair creaked, moved slightly, on its own. I backed up. Nope, not doing this. The door slammed shut behind me. I spun around. Hey! No handle, no way out. The chalkboard changed, right in front of me. The words appeared slowly, like someone writing them. "Sit down." My legs felt weak. "No," I said. "No, I'm not." "Sit." The voice was louder now, clearer, everywhere. I dropped into the chair, couldn't stop myself. The wall in front of me opened. Not physically, but it changed, like something peeled back. And behind it, there were kids, dozens of them, standing in a long hallway, all staring at me. Their faces, wrong, too still, eyes too dark. "You stayed," they said, all at once. "You're one of us." "No," I whispered, "I'm not." They smiled, and for a second, I saw myself with them, standing in that hallway, same empty expression, same dark eyes. I screamed. Something broke. I don't know what, but I got up, ran for the door. It opened this time. I didn't question it, just ran. I found the exit right before sunrise, burst outside, collapsed in the parking lot, gasps tearing out of my chest. The building stood behind me, quiet, still, like nothing had happened. I left, didn't film an outro, didn't look back. I uploaded the footage a week later, edited it down, tried to make sense of it, but there are gaps, parts I don't remember filming, parts where the camera shows things I didn't see, like the kids standing in the halls, watching, always watching. The video did well. People loved it, said it was my best work. Some thought it was fake, some thought it was real. I don't care. I know what happened. I don't explore schools anymore. Factories, sure. Houses, maybe. But not schools. Not ever again. Because I still hear them. Sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet. You stayed. And sometimes, I wake up with chalk dust on my hands, and I don't remember going anywhere. I think part of me is still there at Red Hollow School, and I don't know how long before the rest of me goes back.